just make the most of your time with them,
Mm,
and I feel like time is just flying these days, and it
right. Yeah.
goes by
I,
so quickly. So yeah,
yeah.
you gotta just make that time in this crazy world of ours to just spend it with your, loved ones for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Would we do anything to worry you at all? Like, was there was there any behavior that made you worry a little bit more?
So maybe not so much with my daughter, but with Rehan, because he had that naughty streak in him. We'd sometimes get calls from the teacher and from his teacher. Yeah.
What? No.
Well, actually, my husband would because they had his number first. So, but I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just, him being him, uh, just being naughty. So, yeah.
Hmm.
But
And then
it
when I
was
moved,
like yeah, I wouldn't say it was like a huge challenge in any way, like
yeah,
it was a one-off things like
one off thing every week.
yeah. Ah,
Okay. So let's go to that then, because a lot of parents do have challenging kids. So let's say, he was challenging in some way, it sounds like. So
uh-huh.
what would happen? Like, you get those calls from the school and
Yeah, yeah.
he did whatever he did. I don't know.
I don't
There
even
any,
remember myself.
do you remember if there were
I think
consequences or how that was handled? Do you remember any of that?
yeah, so I mean, for particular instances in the school, we didn't give him any consequences. I know we were called in to talk to the teacher, but we didn't think it was a big thing that he needed a consequence. But at home, when they were like, he didn't do certain things, then we would have consequences. I had a thing like a board where he had to make his bed, tidy up, do his homework, and then only would he get
Play with
a
my
treat
toys.
or yeah. So I mean, yeah, that was the thing, honestly. Timeouts maybe sometimes, but it wasn't that much. Like it was just if he followed that, whatever that system that I had, and he did
Mhm.
most of the time, he was very excited about being able to, obviously do
She
the things he wanted to. So
and she
Right.
gamified it for me.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
understood that for me it was different. I wasn't just gonna listen. It had to be fun. It had to be. So she gamified it. So she had a board, and I had to. It was like a checklist. It was like a competition, right? I had
Hmm.
to fill out the board, make sure that everything was done, and then once everything was done, then I got something, right? Or I was
Okay.
rewarded in some way.
Hmm.
We talked about this in the celebrating wins episode,
Yeah.
but it's
Hmm.
like it was almost like that. It's like I was getting a reward for, doing the things that yes, I should be doing anyways, but that taught me to create that habit of doing those things I
Mhm.
say, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What kinds of
Yeah.
things were on the list? Because sometimes, in different families, some have very, very strict chore rules, and
Yeah.
some are really kind of loosey goosey, and some have none at all.
Yeah.
I think of my upbringing, I didn't have a whole lot of chores. I had some. And then my own kids, I was pretty loosey goosey. They had a few things they had to do, and I thought about the system, but I never got to it. But as a teacher, that's a perfect. I mean, that's
Yeah.
so teacher like.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But what kind of chores and things did he have to do?
So if I remember correctly, I mean, it was making his bed, keeping his room tidy, having his lunch,
Yeah, laying the table,
laying the table,
washing
uh,
the dishes.
yeah, doing his laundry.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
I think honestly, I mean, I didn't do my kids. I did the laundry, and we didn't even. Well, I set the table. I'm like, I should have made my kids do more stuff.
And this is
Clean
this
their
is
room, that
also
would have been impossible.
Well, I
Especially
think
as a teenager.
that kind of helped me also. Like it took away a lot of the little things, responsibilities that,
Well, I
if
think
they
it's
were able
good.
to do it, why not, right? Like then it helps
Exactly.
me at the end
I
of the
love how you
day.
did that. They had to do their laundry, and that's
Hmm.
because my
Yeah.
kids didn't know how to do laundry when they left. And it's like, because I
Yeah.
just did it. And it's like, that is a huge lesson for parents to go
Mhm.
give them those jobs, because the second they leave, they're not going to know how to do it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's something that's simple, but laundry takes some skills. You have to know how to do it,
Yeah,
those
exactly.
kinds of things. So that was
Yeah.
good.
And
Yeah.
even like making lunches was, I mean, it's for me, I just didn't like it, right? So
Yeah.
what I would do is on the weekend, I'd prep veggies, like I cut them up, put them in containers, fruits, whatever. And then I'd tell them to, get their lunches ready. Like take whatever
Yeah.
you want from the fridge that you want to eat and,
Yeah. And that's another really great tip, actually. I
yeah.
love that tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, no juice boxes though, right, Rehan?
Nope.
No,
Did you hear the story?
no
Yeah.
sweets.
Yeah. Yeah, so my mom would always make sure that we were eating healthy. So she'd always pack it was always like a healthy meal that we
Yeah.
got. And then from time to time though, she'd do this amazing thing where she'd put like little surprises, which I love, with a little note, sometimes just say, I love you, have a good day, with like a little bag of chips or something. That was the best. But yeah, then so my mom, she's like, you didn't really like giving us juice or anything like that. And so I had my people. I had my people at school who were just my dealers, my juice dealer. I had my candy dealer, my chips dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he did those things behind my back.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's pretty
Yep.
bad stuff, huh?
And we had this conversation already about my kids too. They always was like no white bread. They couldn't have sugared
Yeah.
cereal, all that kind of stuff. And so then they
Yeah.
go to their friend's house, and they get to eat all that over there.
Ah,
Yeah.
But it created good eating habits, I have to say. They
yeah.
appreciate it now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
yeah. So um, let's see.
I have a question actually for you, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
You're a first grade teacher now, right? And you've been a teacher for longer than I've been alive, I'm pretty sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
over
yeah,
20
yeah.
years. Um, what are the parallels when it comes to teaching and parenting? Are there any? And what has your experience been like, just being constantly surrounded with kids?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I started off my teaching career with teaching higher grades, so grade 4, 5, 6. And so, and I didn't ever think I could teach younger kids. I was like, there's, it takes a certain type of teacher. They need patience. I don't have that, right? But I think that once I had my own kids, I felt like I could relate to younger kids,
Mhm.
because you understand them better once you have your own. And
Right.
so I started exploring the younger kids, teaching the younger kids, and supply teaching helped me,
Can you
experience
describe
all
what
grade
when
levels.
when you say supply teaching? I don't understand.
Substitute teaching.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
substitute, yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know how it is in the States, but here there's a whole like system
Yeah, there's a
where,
system.
right, like you get
Mhm.
calls
Yep.
from, yeah. So I was pretty much busy every day as a substitute teacher. So it
Quite
was like
challenging. I hated it. I
I know
hated substitute
I
teaching.
actually liked it because I didn't have to worry at the end of the day with I was
That's
done with
true.
that class, and
Mhm.
I was able to, once I had a few years of it, because I did 9 years of substitute
Oh, wow.
teaching. Yeah.
You figured out all
Um,
the tricks.
exactly. And also you learn which schools not to go to
Mhm.
quickly, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you know which schools that you enjoy being at, the kids are great, so you choose those ones. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I then started venturing into teaching younger kids, and I think having had my own helped me with dealing with younger kids.
Mhm.
And as much as they are, they have a lot of energy, you need to be on your toes all the time. Like they really keep you on your toes, rather. It, yeah, I think having my own helped that
Yeah, for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
you know, the patience you need, the energy you need. Although
Yep.
now that I'm getting older, it's harder.
Yeah, it is harder.
But you know, I'm just like, yeah, just keep going, you'll be okay.
So
Few more
great
years.
advice for parents. You need patience, you need
Mhm.
energy.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And
then
I
when they
think,
become teenagers,
yeah,
and how did that change for you? I mean, you had Rehan wasn't at home, but your daughter was. How did that work when they became teenagers?
meaning like how did
Well, just the
managing,
whole parenting thing, and did it change? Because
oh yeah,
it's different when they're little.
yeah,
Then
true.
they grow into these people that are probably bigger than you, right?
Yeah.
And they're
So yeah,
teenagers, and their whole everything changes.
yeah, true. You see, with Rehan, because he was far away, I I honestly didn't have any, you
Yeah,
know, any negative or interactions with him at all, right? It would always
yeah.
be he'd come home for the holidays, we'd be happy, we'd spend that quality time together, and it was the best time ever, and that was it, and he'd go back.
That's why I'm the
And
favorite child, by the way.
and you know, I think my mom kind of has a very calming presence, and so I think that helped him.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think she had any issues with him either. I feel like I would ask her, and they were like great for each other. They bonded so well. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
with him there was no issues, and with my daughter too. I think she's very she's a people pleaser, so she wants to do well in school. I never felt that defiance or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, talking back. I didn't feel I got that from her at all. So
There must be a reason too. You must have had a connection, that all parents long for. And
yeah,
not all
yeah.
parents know how to do. So like
Hmm.
you must have built that connection that they felt safe with you, they felt trusted.
Maybe, yeah, yeah.
Would they come to you with their problems or with anything they needed? Would they come to you?
Yeah, yeah, they did.
So
Yeah.
so you created something
Hmm.
to make that happen, because it doesn't happen in every household. Because so can you, I know this is probably a tough question, but can you
Uh-huh.
figure out like maybe how you created that environment for them to feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think I intentionally did anything. You know, like
Mhm.
because I can't recall doing anything like that, but I'm hoping that the fact that I did spend that time with them and you know, was with them, or you know, I'd read to them every single day, and I think that was my favorite moment of the day
Yeah,
was
look at Rayhan's
honestly,
face light up about
yeah,
reading to him
like
every
I
day.
just, you should ask him. We go to the public library, and
Mhm.
I just borrow like a stack of read alouds, picture books, just every weekend. There'd be a new set, and I'd read a book every day to each of them, and or to get, you know, to them together.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that those kinds of experiences really helped build our, you know, our
Mhm.
bonds, I guess. And my husband was very good with, like, he had what we call date nights, right? So he would go on a date night with my daughter separately, and then my son, and then with me, and then I would do the same. So I
That's
think that
nice.
also built that whole, you know,
And
connection and
yes,
trust,
for
and I
sure.
guess yeah,
And that alone time and being so focused probably on them as an individual. What
exactly,
kinds of
yeah.
things would you do for date nights?
Yeah, so we'd go out for like a coffee. I mean, obviously I don't drink coffee, and neither did the kids at the time, but they would maybe get a hot chocolate, and you know, I'd get a tea or something, and we'd go to maybe out for dinner, or we'd go out for a movie, right? And I mean, you don't really interact much on movie nights, but or just go for a walk, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and yeah, things like that.
things that they would be interested in too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
know?
Yeah.
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 I know my dad and I, for example, we would like play soccer together. So we had this thing called Game of Five where I mean, we just call it that. But I don't know why we'd call it that, but I guess because we had to, the first one to score 5 goals would win. But we would just
Ah,
play soccer, like either in the living room or we'd go outside and we'd play. There were even times where we would go to like an instrument like store where they're selling like
mhm.
drum sets and pianos and stuff, and then we just go in there and like start playing the instruments and yeah, so we do things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously and then sometimes we just stay at home and like play cards. Sometimes like it was
Yeah, play
little things like
games
that. Yeah.
or
Mhm.
yeah. So those were the
Wonderful
kinds of
bonding
things.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely worth taking the time to do because I think every moment like that is so precious. You know,
Hmm.
it just really solidifies, especially when
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
totally focused on them,
Yeah.
totally focused on them as an individual
Yeah.
and being willing to listen to what it is they're passionate about and what they want to talk about
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And also I have a question. Do you think traveling influenced that bond at all? Like
Oh
traveling
yeah.
together?
So yeah, I think we've traveled a lot as a family and you get to know each other so well when you travel, right?
Mhm.
But I think our most one of our most memorable times was camping.
Yes.
Because you have to do everything, right? You gotta
Mhm.
cook, clean, right? Pitch the
Yep.
tent. So I think we always remember those camping trips more than the trips we've taken, uh, you know,
Yeah.
overseas or whatever. So, um, and I think, yeah, our devices, we don't have devices. We're just in nature. And I
Yeah.
think that really built, the
Same
bonds
with
as well.
us. We did a
Yeah.
lot of camping
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
and
it's so
same thing.
much fun. Yeah.
It's so much fun and I mean it's a
Mhm.
lot of work for mom and dad, but
Yeah.
once they
That's why
become
you
older,
get them involved too, right?
yeah,
And
when they become
yeah.
older and teenagers, it's like set
Yeah.
your own tent up,
Yeah.
do the dishes.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, camping is such a huge bonding activity. And
Hmm.
anytime you're right about it gets you away from the devices, it gets you to play
Yeah.
games and be in nature and
Yeah.
yeah, talk.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
so
So
nice.
to wrap this up,
Hmm.
this might be tough, but what are, I'd say, the top three things? I didn't prep you
Uh-huh.
on this question. What are the top three things advice you would give to parents, especially of teenagers, if you could,
Hmm.
because that's most of our audience. Um,
Right.
can you think
So
of,
I think you mentioned this before, and I think one of them is to listen to them. Um, and honestly, to observe and see what their passions are, what do they like to do, and then help nurture that and help them develop in that. And then, if at the end of the day, you give them all these chances to do whatever they're passionate about, but they don't like it at the end, it's okay. Like it's a journey that, they're on and they're learning from it and they're discovering themselves, right?
Mhm,
As a result. So I think, yeah, just helping them to to explore the different things that they may be interested in and giving them that opportunity to grow and develop as a result, I think is very important. So listening to them, and then helping that whatever it is that they're doing, helping them achieve that, and then just yeah, like spending quality time with them,
mhm.
not being like almost being like they're rather than being telling them what to do, more like having them tell you, what is it
Yeah.
that, right? And explaining to them. And if they've done something that's not right or that's wrong, then have them explain why, rather than
Mhm,
telling them, oh, you shouldn't have done this because of this, you were wrong, this, that. No. Have a more positive sort of outlook
mhm,
towards bringing up, yeah,
mhm.
uh your kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got one more question, unless you want to say something.
No, I think I don't know. Yeah. I
I've
hope I
got a
answer
question for
that one.
Rehan. You answered
Yeah.
that beautifully. I
Okay.
would agree with you. For Rehan, you have this mother here that you brought on for a reason. I know you love her very much, and she's wonderful. I'm so glad I
Aw,
get to meet her.
thank you.
And but I want you to say, tell everyone what she means to you, what you appreciate about her as your mother, maybe some things she did, why you're so close to her, why you feel this way.
Hmm. So I'll start off by saying that my mom is one of the only people in my life who I can be myself with 100%. I've
Mhm.
never felt like any judgment from her. It's like this unconditional love, like, and I feel it all the time. The other day, like this was yesterday, she gives me a call. She had gone to see one of her friends, who she worked with before, and her friend just like has a little boy, about 2 years old,
Mhm.
and she's looking at this little boy, like, walking around and running around and just fooling around, and she thinks of me, and then she felt like crying, and she actually cried seeing this boy because it made
Oh.
her think of me, and I'm like. I'm hearing her. She called me after, and she's telling me about this. And in my head, I'm just going like, I don't think I can ever match that love. And we do this thing often, like we, whenever we say like, "Oh, I love you, mom," she'll say, "I love you too," and then we'll say like, "Oh, I love you more than you love me." And then I know for a fact I can say it as much as I want. I don't think like I'll ever be able to like love her as much as she loves me because that's just
Mm.
who she is, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I think all mothers are
yeah.
right. Can
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and she's just so selfless. She's given everything to both my sister and myself, without expecting anything in return. It's always been, this concept of 100-0, giving 100% of herself and expecting nothing in return. It's always been the case with her. She's always thinking about us. And the big thing is like I know I can always go back to her no matter what's going on in my life and she will be there. And in fact, sometimes I'm scared to tell her what's going on in my life, especially if it's heavy, because I know that she's gonna feel it as much as me, if not more, because of
Mhm.
how much empathy and love she has for me, right? So it's it's so good to have, like, I'm so happy being back home right now for like a month because I've been able to just feel comfortable, I just feel at peace so much more just because I have this presence of, my mom, my dad, seeing my sister. Like, it's such a nice feeling to have, and I'm so like grateful and fortunate to have a family like that, because despite me leaving when I was 13 years old, it hasn't changed our bond at all, and maybe it's even brought us like closer,
Mhm.
you know? Um, but yeah, she's just an incredible person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to even put it into words if I'm being honest. Like, just yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. What every
Uh,
parent wants to hear. What a gift you just got.
yeah, thanks.
Yes, that's
Uh,
great. Wow,
yeah.
you must, and your students must be very fortunate to have you as their teacher as
I
well. That, oh, I'm sure the love for them is there too. So,
don't know.
even those little naughty ones like he was.
The naughty ones, honestly though, she tells me some of the stories.
Yeah.
The naughty ones are the best. The
Mm,
naughty ones are the best ones, and I think many teachers agree with that.
yeah.
I think
But
that
they're the ones I'll always remember.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We always got to
Uh,
remember that that's their behavior. They're
yeah,
good inside.
exactly.
It's just their
Yeah.
behavior is a little naughty,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to all the
Yeah.
kids out there, just be naughty. Uh, I have one last question for you, Mom,
Mhm.
actually, because you've experienced a lot in life,
Mm.
and then also like as a mother, you've seen your kids grow up, whether it was in person or virtually, I guess, with me in some way.
Yeah.
What are some of the most magical moments that you've experienced as a mother, like just raising your kids?
Mm.
Question. Love that question, Rehan.
So, yeah, so I think there's so many magical moments, right? Like every day is a magical moment but I mean, I think, having going for those walks, just talking like about life and philosophizing. I think I've enjoyed that. Having you, or both of you actually, when you've come back from being away for a long time, that's so magical for me to see you again after so long.
Yes.
Reading to you was magical. Yeah, going on trips, just spending time with the both of you has been really magical for me. Yeah. I'm just happy to see you guys every day. It's just
Was
I
it?
don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask it. Was it weird, like when you? Because I remember the first time I came back after moving to France. Like, I
yeah.
came back and I was like taller than everyone. I just had like this big growth spurt.
Yeah.
Was it not weird? Like even with Elahi, my sister, was it not weird seeing us after a while, like seeing, I guess, our growth and our development and like a difference? Was it
Yeah,
weird
I
that
was like wowed by it, like you see how they mature and how much more they know about the world and through their experiences. So
Right.
it's just wow, like it's so cool to see,
Yeah,
and it makes you proud, right?
it
To,
does. Yeah.
yeah, to
Yeah.
see
And
them
so now
mature.
that both you and me have
Yeah,
empty nests now,
yeah,
and I'm always trying to to make it really, really clear to parents who still have their teenagers in the nest that
yes,
that time is so important and so valuable, because once
yeah,
they leave the nest, it's just not the same.
exactly. Yeah, it's
And you
not.
miss them, and they grow, they do
Yeah,
things that you're not a part of anymore.
exactly. Yeah,
And like you cherish when they come back, and you just,
yeah,
oh, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
just to remind them that, if you don't have that connection, now's the time
exactly. Yeah,
to make
make
that
the
connection.
most of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because before you know it, yeah,
And like
they're
you did,
they're gone. Yeah.
it sounds like you had no ego involved. It wasn't about you, it was about them.
Mm,
And I think a lot of us, we want to be right, or we want to do this, or it's like the ego takes over. I want my kid to be this way because that's what I want. To
mm-hmm.
take that ego out, and then all
Yeah,
of a sudden that's where connection starts to come in.
exactly. Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
So
absolutely. You're
yeah,
right.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
precious, precious, precious time.
Yeah, yeah. I was telling my friend, the one I went to see yesterday, I told her, you know what? I feel like it was just the other day when my kids were as young as yours. And
That's why you
um,
cried.
yeah, and I was like, just make the most of your time with them,
Mm.
And I feel like time is just flying these days. And
Yeah.
before you just 1 year is not as long as it used to be, it like
Right. Yeah.
goes by so quickly. So yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta just make that time in this crazy world of ours to just spend it with your, loved ones for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not going to be perfect. And
No.
yes, it takes a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes you're going to be like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
worth every
Absolutely.
minute, worth
Exactly.
every minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Take it
only
from
human,
two
right?
older moms.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, this was great to have you on. And
Thank you for
I'm,
having me. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll
Uh,
bless a lot of people with this discussion. I hope. Open some
I hope
eyes.
so. Yeah.
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 Thanks,
All
Mom.
right.
Thanks. It was
Oh,
really nice meeting you.
yeah. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and all the best. And I'm vouching for you guys. I'm gonna,
Thank you. We appreciate that.
yeah.
Well, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you to my mom for joining us today. Thank you to
yes.
Susan as
Very good.
always. And yeah, feel free to like, to comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, to follow us if you're on Spotify or on Amazon or Apple or wherever you're listening. And yeah, even give this podcast a rating if you want. And
Oh, that'd be great.
yeah, that'd be great. And then we'll see you
And
all.
share it.
Oh
Share
yeah,
it to
share it.
other
Share it with anyone
parents.
you know.
Yeah.
Share it, even share it to just random people. It doesn't matter. Just share it with everyone. But yeah, we appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you or talk to you next week, next Friday. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.